Hey y'all, thank you for joining me on another video. Oh boy, my last video has gotten more views than I have in a while. So I am thankful for that. Thank y'all so much. Um, Definitely, if you like this content, hit like, subscribe. I'd love to get to know you. I'm trying to, as I said in my previous video, I'm trying to be more regular this year with my videos, as I have been told that there are those that relate to my videos, that relate to what I'm going through. And that's good to know. That's why I do these videos, to let people know that they're not alone. I do speak from a perspective of a male narcissist because that's who I was married to. But there are female narcissists, and oh my goodness, they can be ruthless. So don't ever feel like I'm saying only men are narcissists, because they most certainly are not. Um, Quite honestly, what I know now of narcissism and the actual narcissistic personality disorder, pretty sure my ex's mother was one. Um, so that alone is one example that I know of. And perhaps one day I'll talk more about my ex's mother, um, to help with some background, but I'm not ready to talk about that yet. Not to mention, whenever I talk about anything I go through, it has the potential of ripple effect with family members that I don't want to hurt, because I'm doing this, I'm putting my life out there, but others may not want theirs. So that's why I'm so protective of the stories. And even when I bring my kids into it, I don't mention which child is what or whatever, because it's their stories to tell or not tell. I'm just telling it from my perspective. But today, I want to talk about, um, if a is a relationship with a narcissist, is there anything about the relationship that's real? Short answer, no. Long answer, the latter part, with all the abuse and the neglect and all of that, and the cruelty and the downright evilness. That's the real part. The part at the beginning where they're nice and sweet and caring and fulfills every one of your needs to feel loved, protected, nurtured, that's false. And it's a realization that I've been dealing with a lot lately. February 10th is the anniversary of the memorial service of a very dear friend, 4-year anniversary of a memorial service of a dear friend, where my ex acted up so horribly at the memorial service. As I've stated before, he was carrying on so much that at the end of the service, when everybody traditionally goes to the surviving family members to comfort them and give them condolences, they were going to him because they thought he was like the friend's brother, and taking away the comfort that the friend's widow and children deserved, not him. He and I were friends, of this person, and he wasn't even a good friend for the friend had been in the hospital for quite a while, sick with multiple things, and his wife, whom she and I are good friends, flat out told me, look, you can come if you want to see him, but don't bring your ex. She flat out said it. And I didn't blame her because I knew what he would do. It a number of things he could have done. But suffice it to say, he wouldn't have been appropriate. And we'll just leave it at that. So at the service, like I said, he was acting up so bad that he was taking away the comfort that the widow and the children deserved. And I was able to drag him away, and through a whole series of other events, he gets mad at me, starts drinking. We go to the store, he gets a big, like, half-gallon thing of vodka and starts drinking it, goes into a drunken rage, and the next morning I wake up with fingerprint bruises. That's when I decided, okay, I gotta leave. I couldn't call the police then because I had taken off that day, being the day after the memorial service, because I wanted to give myself time to grieve. So I didn't have an excuse to leave the house because I knew obviously I couldn't call the police while he was there. And so I looked at those bruises, and I looked at myself in the mirror, and I said, this is it. God, help me leave. I made a promise to myself and to God that when it happened again, I'd have a way out. And that was on February 10th of 2020. And then literally 1 month to the day, March 10th, 2020, all things went down and stuff hit the fan, and he was removed. So this time of year is kind of a little bit tough. It's a mixed bag of feelings. And it's kind of funny how I came to doing this topic, because my neurodivergent mind is a domino effect. One thing leads to another leads to another. This time of year being almost Valentine's Day, of course, there's all kinds of candies and roses and all things Valentine's Day in grocery stores, even convenience stores. Well, I was in a grocery store the other day, and I saw a big bucket full of artificial roses with sweet little loving sayings on them. And of course it brought back memory when he used to give me what we call Friday roses, because back when we were first married, payday was on Fridays. So when we got paid, he'd cash his check at the grocery store, back when you got checks for pay. He would go to the grocery store, cash his check, and then buy one long stem rose. It was an I love you thing for me. And of course, I don't know of a woman alive that wouldn't fall head over heels over that. I mean, he was doing all kinds of things before that, but that was like a weekly thing. Well, we were living in Chicago at the time when he did that, and that lasted for a while. Then when we moved back down to New Orleans, things were tight. I was pregnant for our first child, so the roses kind of fell by the wayside. And so over the years, On occasion, he would give me a rose on a Friday when it would come to mind or something. I don't know what his reasoning was for. But, and it's kind of indicative of what our marriage was like. Originally, he would give me a real long stem rose. Then, on occasion, over the years, when it would come to mind, he'd give me an artificial rose. Now, that's not saying someone shouldn't give their significant other an artificial rose because they can't afford a real rose. It's not a bash. It's just noting the irony that he wanted to make sure to appear legitimate at first, but then once he got me, and I had already had his first child, the roses were there, but they took on a new meaning. They were artificial, just like his love. He never truly loved me. A narcissist is incapable of loving. And what's ironic is people say, yeah, they don't love anybody but themselves. But that's the irony. They don't even love themselves. Because that's part of the issue. They somewhat see how they truly are, or they're not satisfied with how they truly are. So instead of the average person who would see it, okay, what do I need to grow? What do I need to do to change this? Whatever the thing that they disliked was. A narcissist doesn't want to face what they see wrong. And then, so instead of facing it, they take their anger out on their partner or their child. And so, thinking about the roses and thinking about how he started giving me the artificial roses, it got me to thinking about the irony of it, because that's how it was. The only thing legitimate about our marriage was the latter years where the abuse was severe, especially when I started catching on that a lot of things he said or did was to purposefully get a reaction out of me, to purposefully hurt me, to purposefully make me cry. Sad to say, he felt good making me cry. Looking back, I can see that now. So when I started catching on that he was doing things to get a reaction out of me, I stopped giving him the reactions. I would control my feelings at the moment, and I would be screaming inside, but I wouldn't let him see it. I'd end up crying in the middle of the night when he was sleeping. When he would go to sleep and I was still awake, that's when I'd be crying in pain and hurt. He started realizing that he wasn't as in control as he once was. And that got him angrier. And then the angrier he got, the farther below the belt he would get. Some of the things, y'all, that I was told over the years would make your hair stand on end. And he would get lower and lower and lower. Just when one thing stopped giving me a reaction, he'd go lower. Because I remember him specifically saying, I forgot what he had said, but he said something that used to give me a reaction of being hurt or upset at best, that was no longer warranting a reaction out of me or soliciting a reaction out of me. And he literally said, that doesn't get a reaction out of you anymore. I'm going to have to go for something worse. And it's like, I didn't catch on at first. Trauma brain is definitely a real thing. And I was being gaslit so much that I didn't think about it. It wasn't until recently that I started thinking about it. There was really anything that was good in our relationship, unfortunately, was not real. He would do what's commonly called breadcrumbing. We could be in a terrible knockdown, drag-out fight the night before, where no holds barred, where anything was free reign on anything he wanted to say. And then the next morning, I'd wake up to him gently saying, "Bae, wake up, your coffee's ready, sit up, I got your coffee." And he'd have coffee made and ready for me to drink while in bed. And I would be like, well, after last night was so awful and we said some awful, hurtful things, and now he's doing this, can't be all that bad. There's got to be something there. And it was by design. Because that's what narcissists do. They are incapable of loving. They are incapable of giving love. But they're very capable of hurting and abusing and causing people to unalive themselves. It's sad, but that's what narcissists do. They lift you up when they think, they're planning on leaving. I'm starting to lose control here. So they give you a few little breadcrumbs and they lift you up and make you think, okay, there's something going on, something's good, there's got to be some good in this, just to pull the rug from under you. And that's part of their joy. They get their jollies into seeing you disappointed, seeing the rug pulled from underneath you, and seeing that, oh my gosh, just when I had hope. They enjoy removing all hope from you. So when people ask, was there anything good about the relationship? For me, I say my kids. I've told my kids this. I would go through that all over again if it meant that was the only way that I could keep my kids. They are more than worth it. And they're the best part of my relationship with my ex, or the marriage I had with my ex. If it weren't for the marriage, I mean, if it wasn't for my children, there would have been nothing good about my marriage. Even the quote good times, knowing what I know now, were all fake. It wasn't real. It wasn't to express love. It was that little shiny lure at the end of a hook to lure me in and hook me, where it's in my mouth and no hope of getting out. And then basically, I'm his dinner. Thank y'all for joining me. As always, hit like, feel free to share, and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Y'all have a good day and a good week. Stay blessed.